Are you buying your first lathe or you're actually upgrading your current one? Whichever the case is, this video should help you out. Stay tuned. Now please allow me for a few seconds just to quickly explain how this video is going to play out. So all the lathes on my list, so these are the lathes that I would choose if I'm buying a new lathe for any kind of a specific reason or size or anything like that. I have these divided into three main categories, which are MIDI lathe, full-size lathe, and then premium lathes. And within each of those are two subcategories, let's call them. The one is European market and the other one is US market. So the reason behind that is most of my viewers are from United States, or let's say half and half. And I want to give that point of view as well. So let's start with the good things or good features that I'm looking for in a nice quality lathe. For me, what are the signs of the nice quality lathe? And I always start with the base, and that is the construction of it has to be cast iron. And for me, there is no leeway here, let's say. It can be stainless steel or anything else, but it has to be nice, solid construction. Stay away from the materials like tin sheeting or anything like that, tin metal, aluminum or stuff like that, which has a lot more flex to it. And that cast iron feature also ties nicely into the second one, which is the heavier the better. Lathe cannot be too light, so just have that in mind. The heavier the lathe, the better. You'll have much more stability, you'll have much more dampening around everything that you do on the lathe. So a nice heavy lathe is a must, at least again for me. Now the next feature might be slightly confusing because it ties actually to the one of the features to avoid on the lathes, or actually altogether the type of lathe that I'm avoiding, and we'll get to that. But for me at least, a minimum 1 horsepower motor on the lathe. My first lathe was DML 320 from Record Power. It's not on the list that I have here in front of me. It could be a budget option, and it's a great lathe, don't get me wrong. I love that lathe, and I am sorry that I had to sell it to get upgrade. But it had a major flaw, and that was the motor. And it had, if I'm not mistaken, a 750 watt motor, which is in horsepower around 3/4 of the horsepower, which if you're turning anything a little bit larger, a little bit more denser or dry, it can stall quite easily. Again, it's a nice solid lathe, but if it has 1 horsepower motor, it will be even better. Now, as I've mentioned, the motor size output that I'm looking for in the lathe, that also ties nicely into the next feature that I'm looking for, or that you should be looking for at least, and that is stay true to well-known brands. And what I mean by that is all of the bigger companies like Powermatic, Rikon, Robust, Dressenmeister, Steinert, or Killinger, let's say, and so on. All of these companies have already tested out a lot of the electronics, motor, everything is basically already been done. So there is not much in terms of experimentation and so on. So there is much less likely something to go wrong. So that's something that I'm looking for. Not saying that some of the Chinese brands, let's say, are less worthy lathes. I'm sure there is some of the knockouts out there that are similar, because many of the machines that I'm about to mention are made in Taiwan, China, and so on. So most of these companies probably can produce something similar. So but if you're already spending a couple of $1,000s or euros, you don't really want to gamble on some unknown brand. Now the next feature isn't that critical, but it can save a lot of the headaches and time, which is Morse taper 2. You will be surprised how many of the cheap quality lathes, tin lathes or something like that, have some sort of weird accessory taper, let's say, or not even a taper at all. So most of the fixtures, nice quality fixtures, accessories that you can buy for quality lathes are Morse taper too. So from drive dogs to tailstock cones, all of these accessories work the best with Morse taper 2. There is also Morse taper 1 and 3, but I think in majority of the cases you'll be better off if you have the lathe with Morse taper 2. Just again, will save you a lot of the time and headaches. Again, it's not critical, but it's a time save. Now the next feature and the last feature that you should be looking for in a nice quality lathe, and this one should be on top of the list, and that is variable frequency drive, or any kind of a method of electronically adjusting the speed of the lathe. First of all, that's a major safety improvement. So if you're turning anything in balance, having something like a belt pulley system where you have fixed, let's say 5 speed ranges, it can be major disaster because it can be almost 300, 400 RPMs in between each pulley, and you need maybe something in between. And having that variable speed with a twist of a knob, you can get right and dial it in the right of that safety zone, let's say. What to avoid when you're buying your first lathe, or if you're upgrading to a new one. Now, this one might be a little bit controversy, but I would stay away from entire branch of mini lathes. Now, if you're just starting out, this might be even better advice than you think. So I would highly suggest that you start with the MIDI lathe. The reason behind that is, let's give it a scenario where a few months down the road you decide to sell the lathe because you're either overgrown it or you just don't like wood turning, or although that I don't see as a possibility, but nevertheless, if it does happen, those lathes can be quite easy to sell, and maybe you'll lose $100, let's say, or 100 euros just because it's used a little bit, but still lathes hold their value really high or well. If you buy something really cheap, cheaply made, most likely none of the wood turners that actually tried or have a class or anything like that tried on a more evolved lathe, let's say, or better built lathe, they won't go and buy mini lathe or even some of the cheaply built lathes. So that's, for me at least, go from the MIDI to higher range if you can. Again, there is not much in terms of the price difference, but you get a lot more. Now this one actually ties nicely into the previous one, and that is avoiding cheap lathes. So I'll give you a couple of examples here to avoid similar lathes like these. So you can see by the base and by the construction itself, there is mass missing on this picture. These are flimsy, the bearings are second to basically non-existent, loud, screaming at you. Even if you do something good on the lathe or your technique is good, that doesn't mean that the lathe will support your cut or your technique, let's say. It will turn out that you don't know how to turn because of the lack of quality lathe. Trust me, that can happen. If you have a lousy lathe that wobbles, just walks around everywhere, you cannot make a nice true cut. It will constantly fight you. So having a nice stable lathe starting from the MIDI range is, at least in my opinion, a must. Now, just before I show you the new lathes here that I have as top picks in each category, as well as some of the more budget-friendly options as well. Like I said, these are all new lathes, but there is nothing wrong in searching the used market. You can find some of the great deals out there on much better premium lathes, and again, on the nice quality lathe, in most cases there are only a couple of things that can go wrong or bad, so these are usually quite easy to fix. So you should not stay away from used market. Now in Croatia there is no used market for decent quality lathe, so I was always opt for buying a new lathe or better lathe, upgrading to new one. But if you live maybe in the United States or Germany or UK, you may have a much better option. So that's something to consider as well. So let's dive into the first category, which is MIDI lathes. Now first let me start with the MIDI lathe segment. These lathes usually have up to 14-inch in diameter swing over the bedways. And I say 14-inch in a ballpark. Some of them have a little bit more, some of them a little less. And these can have from 1 horsepower up to 2 horsepower motor as well, ranging from 50 kilos up to 200 kilos. So there is a wide range here, and some will say some of these lathes that I'm about to mention maybe fall into full-size lathes. Again, for me, these are in a lower segment, not in terms of quality, but in terms of size and what you can do with these lathes. Also, something to consider, for me at least, I'm not looking for a rotating or sliding headstock. This is a whole nother category that maybe for another video, but for me, I'm not looking for that. For me, I like bolt down headstocks. But I do understand if some of you have the need, because there is some of the ergonomics behind when you can rotate it, let's say 45 degrees headstock and turn that way. It can maybe save on your back and so on. But at least for now, luckily I don't have those issues. So those features you'll have to decide for yourself. But most of these lathes that I'm about to show you usually do have that feature. I usually don't use them. So just to be clear on that. Now the first lathe on MIDI lathe segment that I would choose if I'm buying a new lathe or if I'm recommending a new lathe would be this CARP from Ronald Kanne, which is a relatively new lathe on the market. This is CARP 1421 MIDI Plus lathe. Now there is a reason why I choose this lathe. First of all, it's quite interesting. It's new on the market and it has some of the features that not many of this size lathes have. So for example, if I scroll down, let's see, 1.5 horsepower motor, which for this size lathe I never saw anything similar. So you really get a lot for, here is the wider picture, whoops. So I think around 50 something kilos, has both reverse and forward rotation. Really, it looks really nice and sturdy lathe. What I really like is on the tailstock end, there is a big wheel, not your usually smaller one, but on the headstock it does have this smaller wheel here, which preferably maybe a little bit bigger one should be better, but now we are nitpicking here. This is again from Ronald Kanne. He's a great wood turner from Dutch, I believe. 3-year warranty, and again has all the features that I prefer, which is Morse taper 2 on the headstock and tailstock, 18 centimeters of center height, which is 355 mil, between the centers 510, have the good range. This is quite normal from 240 to 3550 RPM. Has a removable switch box here, you can see. So pretty much everything that you need to start turning this lathe has it. And the best part of it, it's not going to break the bank. So with all of that, with 1.5 horsepower motor, which is really something not so common on this size of the lathe, and the price of it, it's 1,100 euros. Not sure in dollars, and not sure if this is or if you can buy this in United States. Again, that's why I'm making separate list for United States based customers or viewers. Now the second lathe is the lathe that I actually owned for a while, and that is MIDI plus 2 lathe. And now you can get it with the legs or this kind of a tabletop version. I have a review video of this lathe. Great lathe. It has a 1 horsepower motor. This is a company, you can see here, Dresselmeister. I'm probably butchering this because I don't know how to pronounce German words. However, this is a great lathe. Also same swing and quite similar looking to CARP lathe from Ronald Kanne, which has also another entry, which you're going to see a little bit later. Again, this has, I think, the same, let's see here at the technical data. Yep, same 355 mil swing, and it has a very good range of speeds. I always had it set to middle one, which is from 150 to 1900 RPM. My Wickmark lathe has from 50 to 2000 RPM, so that's the range that I want. I don't turn anything faster than 2000 RPM. Now the next lathe on the list, it's not the cheapest one, but if you really want the best possible version of this smaller lathe, then I highly recommend this one. This is a Wickmark VL 150 lathe, the one that Richard Raffen has as well. This is a great lathe, and if you don't need the big swing, if you only need up to 1 foot in diameter, 300 mil diameter, this is a great option. It will last you a lifetime. It has a taper bearings, which none of the other lathes usually have. It's quite rare, but these bearings are much more tougher. You can bang on them using a cup chuck and so on. Really great lathe. So if you have the budget, again, not the cheapest one, but certainly one of the most quality lathes out there. And also, just to give you another budget option, if you just want a small lathe, one of the cheapest out there, I would recommend also this one, which is MIDI 1 table lathe. Not sure about this table lathe, but it's a MIDI 1. It's called, also from Dresselmeister. Also, there will be a few more inputs from this company. Great lathes. These are the lathes that I would recommend if you're in the Europe and you're looking for this kind of a smaller size lathe. I'll put the link to each of these lathes in the video description, so if you are interested, you can check them out on your own terms on the website where I found them. Again, these are the picks that I would choose if I'm buying a lathe right now, which I'm not. I'm set for life. I think I might add a new one as a teaching lathe for the future, but these are the lathes if I do want to buy this size lathe. Now let's go to see US based market. Let's talk lathes, MIDI lathes that you can purchase in the United States if you're in a search for one. Now first I'll start with again Wickmark VL 150 lathe. You can buy that lathe in US as well. And again, if you're in that range that you don't need a big swing, but you need the best possible lathe for that size, Wickmark is one of the options. The other one is this one here, which is Powermatic PM 2014, and you can see the review of this lathe on Mike Peace YouTube channel. He's one of the Four Ways collaborators, great woodturner, great human being, so you can expect a really honest review. And I really like this lathe. It's a nice compact lathe, really nice for its size. Again, if you're looking for a lathe in this segment that you don't need a whole lot of swing, but you need this kind of a quality in small footprint, this is another great option. And just to show you some of the features, by the way, this is from Craft Supply USA. Great company. I worked with them in the past on a few projects or few product, better said. So again, it has a variable frequency drive, so it has a three-phase motor with what it's called inverter that converts to 110 or 220. So it's a 1 horsepower motor, great for this size of the lathe. And it has again a 1-inch tool post, which is something that I prefer. Now I know that these two first lathes that I mentioned, the Wickmark and Powermatic, are a little bit more pricier. So as you saw, Powermatic is $2,700 US dollars. But if you need something a little bit more budget friendly, just to get into the craft, but not lose too much on quality. So all of these again are the lathes that I would choose. These are all great lathes that will serve you quite well. So the next pick would be either this LAGUNA REVO 1216, also 1 horsepower lathe, $899 US dollars. Also on this list might go Jet 1221 lathe, which I don't have a picture here right now. That lathe doesn't have a 1-inch tool post, so if you have, or if you buy another lathe, you cannot interchange the tool post. So if you buy a bigger lathe, you cannot exchange them. I prefer to have it 1 inch at least. That gives a lot of the support for the tool rest, so it makes a big difference. So this again, LAGUNA REVO is a great small size lathe. Again, this one is bench top. You can opt with legs as well. It will be a little bit more cost, but if you have the option or if you have the space, then you can buy with legs as well. Here is the picture how it looks. This one is from the Woodturning Store. Again, another great company. Some of the features as well, you have the range, you can see of the speeds here. Also 1 horsepower, which I mentioned as well. Swing over bedways is 318, so slightly less than those that I mentioned in Euro, but you won't lose too much. But there is an interesting fact here, also 16-inch swing, but that it's outboard. So I guess you can turn, as you can see here in this area, you can turn on the back side as well. So here you have 16-inch of the swing. So that's a quite versatile small lathe to get you into the craft. It's nice sturdy lathe. And now the other option, which again sort of fall in the budget option, but again, don't get hung up on the budget name. These are not much less quality than the other lathes here, and I'll get to that quality issue as well towards the end of the video. The next one, like I said, is the Rikon lathe 701516. It's quite similar to DML 320 from Record Power. Quite similar features and everything. The size of the motor, let's see, let's check it out. It has 1.25 horsepower motor, so a little bit more power in this engine here. But again, nice solid construction, cast iron, 1-inch tool post. Again, this one comes with a hardened rod, and it has a control box that you can remove. So quite interesting, for this price here of $49.99, you can also get a chuck here. So this is a Rikon chuck with a standard, what I would think is 50mm jaws. So great. Great value for money. And also it appears to have outboard turning, which is a great option if you want that. The DML 320, my first lathe that I bought for myself, I didn't have that option, but it's nice to see that these are now that these lathes come with this option. So if you do come across a job or a need to turn anything bigger, there is an option for that. And finally, the record power option. Also, I think it's sells in United States. This is from Neureiter in Austria, but I think there are a few dealers in United States. This is CORONET CORONET HERALD lathe, also 1 horsepower motor, has a pivoting headstock, 1-inch tool post, around 50, I think 50 kilos. Let's double check that. So it has 48 kilos, that's without a base, so the bench top model version like this one. And this also comes with a small feet here that you can bolt down to the bench, let's say. So if you don't have the need for the legs, although these legs you can fill with sand or beads or anything like that. I would usually go for these smaller lathes with bench top versions, because usually I can make a wooden base, and I have a few videos on that as well, on the review on my lathes. I also show the base. You can make a little bit more versatile base than just these 4 legs, so that's a little extra tip. The first entry for my Europe-based viewers would be this one, which is STRATOS FU230 LV lathe. This is a long base, let's say, a little bit longer bed base here, so you can turn a little bit longer stuff. 3,190 euros. This is a great lathe. I've turned on this one in the last wood turning event in Neureiter in Austria. It's a great smooth lathe, just great all around lathe. And again, it is 3,000 euros, but it's worth every penny. Now, just some of the features to show you. So again, this is the lathe. If I'm choosing in this range, I would go for this lathe. Let's see some of the technical data. It has a 2 horsepower motor. It's a 230 volt. Weight for this model, the longer base, is 195 kilos. It's slightly smaller for the regular model, but with this one you basically don't need to buy a bed extension, so you can turn up to it says, let's see, 955 for this special model, LV model. So 230 mil over the center, so 460 in total. So great swing over the bedways. Really, again, really nice solid lathe. Has also, which is not something quite common, it has, let me just show you real quick. Come on, where are you? Here we go. So 2 outlets. So with this one machine you can power, let's say, a drill or a Dremel or something like that. So it also has a cool feature. It has a slow start and regular start and stop. So with the slower one, it amps the speed up slower. So if you turn anything bigger, irregular, it does that a little bit more gradually, and also stops a little bit more gradually, not so abrupt, let's say. And the standard one, it's quite relatively fast start and stop as well. So great feature. Not many other lathes have them. And again, this is a great well-built lathe. Now the second option would be this one here, again on a slightly more budget-friendly option. So there is a lot more to 3,500 euro change here, so you can buy extra tools and something like that. But this is again a really lovely lathe, well-built lathe, which is more importantly, which is Axminster Professional lineup AP406 VL. WL. So great lathe. There is also bench top model, but I think this one with the legs and everything should be a really great option. Also 2 horsepower, a 1.5 kilowatt motor. Great. Again, has a, I think it has a 1-inch tool post. So again, that's a minimum that I require, in my opinion. Also has a box, control box that you can move around. So really great option. Now this next lathe is one of the most compact and most best value for money, let's say, lathe that I've seen lately. What I mean by that is, if we check here, so this is another entry from Ronald Kanne. It's CARP 2032 XL lathe. It's priced at 2,788 euros. But what is really interesting, it has some of the features that many bigger lathes with a much bigger price tag doesn't have. So what I mean by that is that it has 3 horsepower motor. It has 280 kilos that is packaged weight, so a little bit less maybe when it's assembled like this, but not much. And also it has a swing away feature here for the tailstock. Also, for some of you that are interested in this, it has swiveling and sliding headstock, so you can turn on this end outboard as well, as you can see in this picture here. So really versatile lathe, especially when you consider the price tag. And again, this is a relatively new entry from Ronald Kanne in terms of these lathes, but looking so far, these are looking really great and promise a lot. So really, I think one of the best, as I've said, value for money. Now let's say that you are in a slightly more tighter budget, but you need a more powerful lathe, more bigger lathe for bigger stuff, with sliding and tilting feature as well. Then this next entry is a sort of a budget option, but again, it's well built, it should last you a long time, and that is another lathe that I've owned, which is a record power CORONET region lathe. Again, there is a review on my YouTube channel about this lathe. Great lathe. The only feature that I didn't like is it has a really slow stop time, so it takes a while to stop, to wind down. Hopefully on the new versions, these with green legs, that maybe has been sorted, not sure. But again, it's a nice stable lathe, and the price is hard to beat. It's 2,399 euros at Neureiter shop here. So we come again to my US based viewers and what I think in this full-size lathe range, what I would choose if I live in the United States. So the first one would be this one, again from Craft Supply USA, the Jet 1840 EVS, so electronic variable speed. I think this is, and also you can get this one in Europe as well from IGM. These lathes are actually great lathes, well built, nicely balanced and everything. Also has 1-inch tool post, 2 horsepower motor. The price here in dollars, US dollars, is almost 4,000. So on a right up to the budget, let's say, of $4,000. But again, it's a great value for money. Great lathe. Again, some of the features, again, I mentioned 2 horsepower motor. It has 414 pounds, which I would guess roughly it's around 200 kilos. So all in all, again, cast iron, everything, has a great electronics. I haven't heard much in terms of complaints about this lathe, so I would recommend this one. So if you are in the United States and you're looking for something in this price range, this is another great option. Now this one, this is a great option, again, on a upper scale of budget, and you can see this is a reduced priced, actually $1,000 on sale right now. This is a Harvey Turbo T60S lathe with servo motor, so a little bit different driven, but it's also a great and well built lathe. I've owned a T40 model, smaller version, and I'm sure that this one has or shares a lot of the parts and features. On mine, I really enjoy using banjo, the locking levers, all of the locking levers, all of the moving parts are just great. On mine, I had to change the bearings right from the factory, but that was really relatively quick process. Getting the bearings, a little bit more time involving to actually replace them, but all in all, the service was really great. So again, just have to check regularly on the Harvey webpage to check the prices, because they do have sales quite often, so this might change. So just have to be aware and keep an eye on it. Now the last option for my US based viewers, if I live in the United States, I would consider this lathe if I'm on this budget up to $4,000 US, and that is Laguna REVO 1836, the 2 horsepower model, 220 volt. So this comes at 2,000, almost 3,000 US dollars. So I think it has 18-inch swing over the bedways, 2 horsepower, as I mentioned. Now I cannot find the tool post size, but I would bet that it's a 1-inch tool post size, which is again minimum that I would go for. And the weight, net weight of the lathe itself without the shipping stuff is 427 pounds, which again it's roughly 200 and maybe 10 kilos, something like that. So another great option. Now these lathes did have an issue that I'm aware of, at least, that has around locking levers on the banjo or the banjo itself. Now, not sure if that's the case still and if all the lathes have that, but it's something to consider as well. Again, I think that any reputable company would sort that out, and I'm sure that Laguna has sorted out as well. But if you own one, please write in the comments below if you like it or not. So this is another great lathe to consider. Now for the last category, this is creme de la creme of the lathes, and there is no European and US versions or market or list. This is joined together because the lathes on this list you can buy both in Europe and United States. So again, like I said, these are creme de la creme. These are the best lathes money can buy. Now, first I'll start with my own lathe. This is a Wickmark VL300 lathe. It has a 296 kilos, that's around 600 pounds, give or take. All in all, great lathe. Tapered bearings, everything feels, moves, glides, operates smoothly, just works beautifully. Of course, it does come with a price tag. In this case, it's 6,500 euros, but that is well worth every penny. This lathe is by far the best lathe that I've ever had the chance to turn. And now the alternative to Wickmark lathe would be robust American Beauty lathe, which comes with a price tag of around 10,000 US dollars. And again, really well built lathe, really heavy lathe. Similar construction as the Wickmark with sort of a steel base, nice thick steel base, but this one has slightly different bedways. These are stainless steel, so they don't rust if you turn anything wet or anything like that. So really top-notch lathe. And if you want to check more about this lathe, then check out Sam Angelo's YouTube channel. He has a review of this lathe, and also he turns on one pretty much every single day, so he would be much better source for any information. But if I'm in the United States, I would consider this lathe as well. Now this is you can get American Beauty in in Europe as well, but it's a little bit more pricier. So again, I don't lose anything with the Wickmark lathe, but it costs a little bit less. So again, something to consider. If you have the budget, this is a great option. Now the last two lathes on my list for this creme de la creme portion segment is the two lathes that not sure if you can get them either in Europe or United States, but you can import them through factory, let's say. So it's a little bit mixed, let's say. So let me just give you a quick story on this one. This is a VL200 long bed version from Wickmark. This is the first Wickmark lathe that I wanted to buy before VL300. But unfortunately getting it into Croatia directly from Australia, because there is no version of this lathe in Europe, unfortunately. Otherwise I would get it. Now if I would import one directly from Australia, unfortunately it would cost me pretty much another price of this lathe. So it was quite an expensive endeavor, so I just decided to go with a Wickmark lathe that I have options to buy in Europe, preferably from EU countries, so there is no customs or anything like that. That's why I decided on both. I was actually deciding between VL240 and VL300 lathe, but I've decided on 300 because of the everything else, the features, and like I mentioned, the fixed headstock, which is my preferred option, and I have zero regrets. I just love my lathe. So this is a option that I went for before VL300, but again, importing one is a little bit more pricier. Now the final lathe, or actually two lathes, I should say, are from Powermatic, and if you're in the United States, then these are readily available to you, but in Europe they're not. So I would have to import one. Not sure how much that would cost from United States. At one point, I think Dictum in Germany had some of the Powermatic lathes, but they didn't last for a long time. Not sure why. But the two lathes that I would consider creme de la creme of this brand, and that I would consider buying as well, are this one, which is Powermatic 3520C and Powermatic 4224B. Both are extremely well built lathe. Again, these are lathes for professional use. There is a big difference in price. So just to compare it, so this is $6,000 US, and this is almost 9,000. But again, this is, I believe, 3 horsepower lathe. Let's just double check. Yep, that's 3 horsepower, a lot more weight, 960 pounds. So roughly over 400 kilos, so a lot of the weight behind, a lot of the mass behind this lathe, and with all the bells and whistles that you see here, like the lamps, and it also has the vacuum system integrated, so really not something that you see often. But if you don't need those features and you want a really great lathe, then this is probably all you need, the Powermatic 3520C. Again, good price for everything that you get on this lathe. Again, really nice and sturdy lathe. I'm just curious about the weight here. This one is 2 horsepower, also single phase 220. It has 770 pounds, so I think a little more than a Wickmark lathe. But these are really comparable and really top-notch lathes. So if you haven't fallen asleep by now, thank you. Hopefully you stay awake till now. I just want to sum things up real quick. So again, this is just my picks, my opinion on what I would choose if I'm buying a new lathe or upgrading a lathe. I get so much questions asking about this, so I just had to make a video about it, and hopefully this will help some of you out there that will start the journey in wood turning or has already started but want to upgrade. So again, this is just my opinion, but some of the things that I mentioned in the beginning, what to look for and what to not look for in the lathe, I think those will stand throughout any opinion from any wood turner. Now, a sort of a side note to what makes the difference between creme de la creme lathe and those MIDI lathes, smaller budget lathes, is all of those small stuff, all of those small features adds up to much better experience. So let's say bearings are better. For example, on Wickmark, it's tapered bearings, which you can pound on the, let's say using a cup chuck, so you can pound on it, doesn't affect them. Taper bearings are used in auto industry as well. So these are well build some small stuff that adds up to much better experience. Like I said, there is a story from a guy that I spoke when before I bought VL300 lathe. He hasn't changed bearings in 25 years almost. So on his VL300 lathe, and he's a professional wood turner in Germany. So some of those stuff are just better fit and finish on those creme de la creme lathes. All of them will spin the wood. Some of them will do it a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more smoother, let's say. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you find benefits to this video, and see you in the next one.